So, think you know everything about artificial intelligence? Think again. It feels like every single week, every day even, there's a new headline about AI. It's in our phones, it's writing code, it's making our smart homes smarter, and it's powering the algorithms that decide what we see online. It's become this ubiquitous, almost background-level technology that we've all just gotten used to. But beneath the surface of the latest chatbot or image generator, there's a whole world of fascinating, strange, and genuinely surprising details about AI that you probably haven't heard. Alright, first up, when you hear artificial intelligence, you probably think of something super modern, right? Like a technology born in the last decade or two, alongside smartphones and social media. And that makes sense, given how much it's exploded recently. But the term itself, the actual phrase artificial intelligence, is way older than most people realize. It wasn't coined in Silicon Valley in the 2000s. It was actually coined all the way back in 1956. That's right, the same decade we got the first color TVs and the polio vaccine. It happened at a summer workshop at Dartmouth College. A group of pioneering computer scientists, including guys like John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, and Claude Shannon, got together. They wanted to explore the idea that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can in principle be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. Okay, so we've established AI isn't new, but what it can do is constantly breaking new ground. For a long time, creativity was seen as this uniquely human thing, the one thing machines could never replicate. Logic, math, data processing, sure, that's computer territory, but art, music, storytelling, that was our domain. Well, that line is getting blurrier by the day because AI can now be a legitimate artist. And I'm not just talking about applying a cool filter to your photo. We're talking about AI generating completely original pieces of art from scratch. You've probably seen some of this with tools like Midjourney or DALL-E, where you type in a text prompt, like an astronaut riding a horse in a photorealistic style, and it creates a stunningly detailed image that never existed before. This has led to a whole new market for AI art. It's not just a novelty anymore. In 2018, a piece of AI-generated art called Portrait of Edmund de Bellamy was sold at Christie's, a major art auction house. The expectation was that it might sell for around $10,000. It ended up selling for a staggering $432,500. That sale was a landmark moment. It forced the traditional art world to sit up and take notice, sparking intense debates about authorship, creativity, and what it even means to be an artist. So we know AI can create its own original art, but what about collaborating with the masters of the past? This next one is for the history and music buffs, and it's a perfect example of how AI can be used not just to create something new, but to complete something old. I'm talking about Ludwig van Beethoven's legendary unfinished 10th Symphony. When Beethoven died in 1827, he left behind only a few musical sketches and notes for this final masterpiece. This is where a team of musicologists, composers, and computer scientists decided to bring in an AI. They embarked on a project to see if a machine could help them finish the symphony in a way that was faithful to Beethoven's style. The process was super intricate. They fed the AI Beethoven's entire body of work, all of his symphonies, his sonatas, his string quartets, along with the fragmented sketches for the 10th. The AI's job was to learn his musical DNA. The result was a full two-movement symphony that was performed by a live orchestra. It's a stunning fusion of human history and machine intelligence. This is a super important one, and it's a side of AI that we don't talk about nearly enough. We tend to think of computers as being objective and impartial. They just run on data and logic, right? So if you use AI to make decisions, you'd assume those decisions would be fair and unbiased, but that's a huge and potentially dangerous misconception. The reality is, AI can be biased, and not just a little biased, it can be deeply systematically biased. The problem starts with the data. AI systems learn from the data we feed them. If you train an AI on historical hiring data from a company that has historically favored hiring men for engineering roles, the AI will learn that pattern. It will conclude that men are simply better candidates for those jobs and will start recommending them over equally or more qualified women. This isn't a hypothetical problem, it's happening right now. There have been real-world cases of AI-powered hiring tools that were found to be penalizing resumes that included the word women's, like women's chess club captain. Alright, let's switch gears from the serious to the seriously weird. We've talked about AI as a tool, as an artist, as a potential source of bias. But what happens when you let an AI, well, dream? It sounds like something out of a Philip K. Dick novel, but it's a real thing. and the results are some of the most surreal and fascinating visuals you'll ever see. This phenomenon comes from a Google project called Deep Dream. Deep Dream was originally created to help researchers understand what's happening inside a neural network. These networks, especially the ones used for image recognition, are incredibly complex. So the engineers at Google had a clever idea. What if they ran the process in reverse? Instead of feeding the network an image and asking it what it sees, what if they fed it an image and asked it to enhance whatever it recognizes? So let's say a particular layer in the network has been trained to recognize dogs. If you show it a picture of a cloud and ask it to enhance any dog-like patterns it finds, it will start to subtly alter the cloud to make it look more like a dog. Now, imagine you take that new image and feed it back into the same layer over and over again. The result is a crazy feedback loop. The cloud doesn't just look a little like a dog, it erupts into a swirling vortex of dogs. Dog faces appear in the sky, dog bodies form the landscape. This process, called inceptionism, creates these incredibly intricate, psychedelic, and often nightmarish images. Everything starts to morph into whatever the network is primed to see: dogs, birds, pagodas, eyeballs. This next one taps right into the intersection of AI, robotics, and biology. One of the biggest challenges with robots, especially those operating in remote or dangerous environments like space or deep-sea exploration, is damage. If a robot gets a cut, a tear, or a broken part, it usually needs a human to come and fix it. That's a huge limitation. But what if a robot could heal itself, just like a living organism? Researchers are actively working on this, and they're using AI to make it happen. They're developing robots made from soft, flexible materials, often called soft robotics, that can detect when they've been damaged and then automatically initiate a repair process. So how does it work? The AI acts as the robot's nervous system. Sensors embedded within the soft material constantly monitor the robot's physical state. When a puncture or a tear occurs, the sensors detect the change in pressure or electrical conductivity. This information is fed to the AI, which diagnoses the location and severity of the damage. It's like the robot feeling pain and knowing exactly where it's hurt. Once the damage is identified, the AI triggers a healing mechanism. We often think about AI in terms of convenience and entertainment, but some of its most impactful applications are in areas that can literally save lives. One of the most promising of these is using AI to predict natural disasters. For centuries, events like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and hurricanes have been notoriously difficult to forecast with any real accuracy, often leaving communities with little to no time to prepare. AI is starting to change that. Take earthquakes, for example. Seismologists collect massive amounts of data from seismic sensors all over the world. This data is incredibly complex, full of subtle signals and noise. It's almost impossible for a human to look at a seismogram and predict exactly when and where the next big one will hit. But this is exactly the kind of massive, noisy data set that AI excels at analyzing. Researchers are training neural networks on historical seismic data, teaching them to identify the faint precursor patterns that might indicate an impending earthquake. The same principle is being applied to other disasters. AI models are analyzing satellite imagery to track the development of wildfires, predicting their path based on weather patterns, terrain, and vegetation. It's a powerful example of using machine intelligence to understand the complex, chaotic systems of our own planet, and, hopefully, to keep people safer. Alright, so we know AI takes a ton of computational power, and that means it consumes a lot of energy. The massive data centers that train these complex models are notorious energy hogs, so it might seem counterintuitive to think of AI as a tool for environmental sustainability, but that's exactly what's happening. In a classic case of using the problem to solve the problem, AI is being deployed to make our energy consumption dramatically more efficient. One of the best and most famous examples of this comes from Google itself. Their global data centers are the heart of their operations, and cooling these buildings full of servers is a massive energy expense. For years, they had human experts and automated systems optimizing the cooling, and they were pretty good at it. But then they handed the reins over to their own DeepMind AI. The AI analyzed a huge number of variables in real time: server loads, outside air temperature, pump speeds, valve settings, far more than a human could ever juggle. The results were pretty staggering. The AI was able to consistently achieve a 40% reduction in the amount of energy used for cooling. This concept extends far beyond just data centers. It's the driving force behind smart grids, where AI can predict energy demand and dynamically route power to reduce waste. It's in smart homes, where systems like the Nest thermostat learn your habits to optimize heating and cooling. And it's being used to design more efficient cities, optimizing traffic flow to reduce idling emissions and managing public utilities more effectively. AI has the potential to be one of our most powerful tools in the fight for a more sustainable future. Okay, this next one sounds like pure science fiction, but it actually happened. It moves the conversation about AI from the technical to the philosophical, and it raises some really deep questions about rights, personhood, and what our future with advanced AI might look like. In 2017, an AI-powered humanoid robot named Sophia was granted full citizenship by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This was a world first. A machine was legally recognized as a citizen of a country. Sophia, developed by Hanson Robotics, is known for her remarkably human-like appearance and her ability to hold conversations, display emotions, and interact with people. The citizenship was granted during a big tech conference in Riyadh. On stage, Sophia thanked the kingdom, stating, "I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. It is historic to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship." The announcement immediately went viral and kicked off a massive global debate. The controversy was immediate and multi-layered. On one hand, some saw it as a forward-thinking publicity stunt, a way to signal that Saudi Arabia was embracing a future of technology and innovation. On the other hand, it drew sharp criticism. People pointed out the irony that a robot was granted citizenship, a status with associated rights, in a country where the rights of human women were at the time still heavily restricted. It raised questions like, can a robot be a citizen? Does it have rights? Can it be held accountable for its actions? It also forced us to confront what citizenship even means. Is it just a legal status, or does it require consciousness, free will, and an understanding of social responsibility? Sophia, for all her conversational abilities, is a sophisticated chatbot with a rubber face. She doesn't possess genuine consciousness or understanding. And for our last point, this is something that's less about a single wow fact and more about a critical, ongoing issue that will shape the entire future of AI. It's about who is actually building this technology. Despite AI being a global technology that will affect every single person on the planet, the teams creating it are not very representative of that population. Specifically, there is a massive gender gap in the field of AI development. Studies from organizations like the World Economic Forum and Element AI have consistently shown that the vast majority of AI professionals are male. Depending on the report and the specific role, women make up only somewhere between 12% and 22% of the AI workforce globally. This disparity is even more pronounced in leadership and senior research positions. The rooms where the most important decisions about the future of AI are being made are overwhelmingly male-dominated. So why does this matter? It goes back to what we talked about with AI bias. Our life experiences, our backgrounds, and our perspectives shape how we approach problems and what we value. If the teams building AI systems lack diversity, it's far more likely that those systems will have blind spots. They might overlook the needs of certain user groups, or worse, perpetuate harmful stereotypes because the creators simply didn't have the perspective to recognize the potential for harm. Building responsible and beneficial AI requires a diversity of thought. It needs engineers, ethicists, designers, and policymakers from all genders, races, and backgrounds to contribute. So, there you have it. 10 things about AI that go way beyond the typical headlines. From its surprisingly old roots and its ability to finish a Beethoven symphony, to the very real problems of bias and the philosophical questions raised by a robot citizen. It's clear that AI is one of the most complex, fascinating, and fast-moving fields in technology today. It's not just one thing. It's a collection of ideas, challenges, and incredible possibilities that are already reshaping our world in fundamental ways. I'm genuinely curious to know which of these facts surprised you the most. Was it the self-healing robots, the AI-generated art selling for almost $500,000, or maybe the Deep Dream images? Drop a comment down below and let me know which one really blew your mind. It's always cool to see what resonates with you guys, and it sparks some great conversations in the community, so definitely get involved down there. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more insights into the tech that's shaping our future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. We're always exploring the stories behind the tech, and there's plenty more to cover. Thanks for watching. AI is changing our world in ways we never imagined, so stay curious.